I've said this many times, but the combat system in Hytale is something that I'm looking forward to the most about the game. There looks to be so much depth in terms of combat so far in the game from what we have been shown, and I believe that we're just scratching the surface. Today, everybody, I'm going to be breaking down everything we know about the combat system so far in Hytale. If you guys are new here and you want to show support to the channel, then please go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. Also, comment what type of feature in Hytale you're most excited for. So with that being said, everybody, my name is CanadianFlash, and enjoy the video. Hey everybody, what's going on? CanadianFlash here, guys, and today, everybody, I'm going to be breaking down the combat system in Hytale again, because I did miss out on a few things last time, and I promise I won't miss on some of those things today. Last thing, become a member if you want, join my Discord, it'll be pinned in the comments, and with that being said, let's start the video. One thing about melee weapons that I really like is the swing timing, and it looks like when you swing a weapon, no matter your CPS, the weapon will swing and do the same damage roughly every time, depending on if you get some sort of critical hits or not. I think that this is really nice considering in Minecraft, if you click before your timer's up, you really do like no damage, and that kind of just ruins PvP if you ask me. Melee weapons are going to be the weapons that you as the Hytale player will most likely use right off the bat. We get a great example of melee weapon gameplay wise in the skeleton battle. It starts off with the player using some sort of stone club slash warhammer. You can tell the attack speed is very slow, but it does do a lot of damage. You can see it 2/3 hitting skeletons. With regular attacks, it can 3-shot skeletons, and with a charged up attack, it can 1-shot a skeleton. I think it would be really cool if, just say you're charging up your attack and the bar's not fully like loaded yet, and somebody knocks you back, maybe your attack will be like canceled out or something and you won't be able to do it. That would be really cool. I also noticed that these weapons do have a durability bar if you can zoom in on them, and as you can see, the little stone warhammer thing, its durability is quite low. You can see it dropping quite quickly when it's attacking skeletons. Later on, the player switches to a silver steel blade, and once again, that sword also 3-shots a skeleton. I also noticed that it has a durability bar, and you can see it drop quite quick. The durability bar drops quicker in the stone warhammer axe than it does in the silver steel blade, which the player switches to a little bit later, but you can see while zooming in that both weapons do degrade quite quick, which is pretty cool. And I also did notice that they both 3-shot the skeletons with their normal attacks, so it looks like the warhammer obviously has a slower attack speed but higher DPS, and the little silver steel sword has a much faster attack speed and a little bit lower DPS, which is really cool. Another really cool part to any form of combat in Hytale is the radial menu. They showcased this last year in a blog post, and I think it is a super cool feature to add to combat. It looks like there will be one radial menu for each offhand. One in the video is equipped with Z, and this was a hand icon, which indicates your other hand, and the other one is to X, which has a sort of potion icon, which indicates effects slash healing items. Since the player is about to engage the torque, the player quickly presses Z to switch the torch to a shield to fight the torque. Try saying that 10 times fast. Torque to torch, that's pretty funny. One key thing to note is that the shield doesn't decrease damage by 100%. It looks to be more like a 25% damage reduction based on this video, but also remember the torques are strong creatures and they swing some pretty heavy weapons. Like as you see, this torque is swinging like a club at the player. So maybe the shield has different defensive percentages against different attackers and weapons. Maybe if somebody's shooting a bow at you and the bow hits the shield, or the arrow hits the shield, then you won't take any damage. Or maybe somebody's swinging like a dagger. Obviously the dagger's not going to give you a whole bunch of knockback like the little club or something, so maybe the shield does more damage reduction against those. But then maybe someone swings like a warhammer at you and the shield does literally nothing because the warhammer is quite a heavy weapon. Later on in the video, you can see the player clicking X to activate the food radial menu to grab a meat kebab to start healing. The healing does look quite quick in this video, so maybe they're still working out some things, but even if that is this the final product, I won't complain because I still believe it looks really good. There is one more melee thing that I want to talk about, and it is the spider effects video. You can see the player attacking the spiders with full thorium armor and a thorium battle axe, I believe. As we see in the skeletons battle, the warhammer was knocking back the skeletons with each swing, but the thorium axe is giving these spiders very little knockback. In fact, the knockback is so small that the spiders can still get a hit every time the player swings. This leads me to believe that every single weapon will have different weights and attack force and knockback. This indicates that every weapon will have different effects on every single mob in the game, and that is amazing, and I cannot wait to learn how each weapon works against each specific mob. Mount combat looks really cool in Hytale. We have only seen one instance of it in the game so far, but from what we've seen, it looks really good. In the trailer, we see a player riding a ram into battle against the Yeti. One thing I really like about this is when you're riding the mount, you can actually see where you're going, unlike in Minecraft, where the horse head takes up literally half of your screen and you can't really see in front of you. It's kind of weird. We have not seen any other gameplay or screenshots of mount combat so far in Hytale, but I would not be surprised if we can tame horses and ride them into battle, and maybe even tame some dragons and ride them into battle. I think that would be super cool. And imagine you just whip up some like lightning dragon or ice dragon, you pop up on Baron and be like, what's up bro, and you beat the little living poop out of him. I think that would be super cool. Imagine like you're fighting Kairos and then your dragon is fighting like the void dragon. That would be really cool, and I would love to see something like that. Magic content looks really good in Hytale, and it really does not compare to anything compared to what we have in Minecraft. Like, Hytale combat is so much better and looks so much more in-depth than Minecraft. I don't want to belittle Minecraft in this, but the magic... Is there any magic in Minecraft? Like, what, you get an elytra and then you can fly? I don't know if that's even considered magic, unless you count, like, the enchantment table, but... then that's really nothing too special. But magic content looks insane in Hytale, and there's a lot of different ways that we can wield magic from what we've seen so far. One of the biggest ways that we can wield magic looks to be with spell books, and we see this also in the skeleton battle video. We can see a skeleton, you know, throwing little spells at a guy, and also the player picking up the spell book from that skeleton and then throwing it at another skeleton, which is pretty cool. We also do see that in a screenshot, a player has a lot of different spell books in his inventory, so maybe he's going to use those spells to use different spells on this one skeleton battle that he's fighting in this little zone 2 prefab, which is kind of cool. Also, we do have more magic combat in terms of staffs and wands and everything like that. In some screenshots, we do see there's actually a lot of different staffs and wands in the game, which makes me really excited. 100% people are going to do some Harry Potter type stuff with that. That'll be really cool. Can't wait to see what the creative people come up with. But staff and spells and magic combat is super awesome. And we also can see some gameplay of this in the trailer, where this girl's throwing a little fire staff at one of those like Outlander Colossus type guys, which is really cool. So staff combat looks really awesome. So excited to check that out. And lastly, I just threw this in here because I think that this could be a possibility, and I think it'd be really cool if we can wield elements just with our hands, kind of like an Avatar, how they do that, which is really cool. I just threw this in here because I think that's just a really cool possibility. Like, what happens if, just say you master the lightning element or something like that? I'm gonna throw lightning because it's obviously the best element, but what would happen if you master fire? Like, you know, your boy Zuko pulls up and he's just like, you know, lighting stuff on fire, and then you have a little boy Aang over here with the air element just fighting him. That would be really cool. And if you can do that with your hands, maybe master all 5 of the elements, become the next Avatar. Ooh, and there you go. Or maybe, I guess it'll be Gaia in this case, but who knows. Magic and element combat, definitely something that I'm really excited for. Multiplayer combat looks awesome. I love how it looks so far in the game. We haven't gotten anything since 2018 about multiplayer combat, so I'll keep this brief and short. We can see in the trailer that combat looks pretty good. You know, there's knockback and all that stuff. People have been commenting about this on the Reddit quite recently, which is actually pretty cool. So good job, guys. Good job, Reddit. I like the Hytale Reddit. It's quite fun, actually. I like messing with people on there. But multiplayer combat looks really cool. I would expect it to be a lot better than what we have in Minecraft, and from what we've seen in 2018 on the trailer, it already does look better. So that's really exciting. I don't really know anything about multiplayer combat so far, so I'm not gonna keep rambling on it. So we're gonna switch over to AI combat. This is something that I did leave out in the last video, and AI combat looks actually pretty good. There's a bunch of different mob interactions that we've seen so far, like for example the fox chasing the jackalope, like fen stalkers they defend frogs. There's a little like video of a torque versus a bear. We also can see some Quebecs chasing down a boar. There's a lot of different mob interactions in Hytale, and I really wouldn't be surprised if we can just see a whole world around us like fighting. Like for example, we do have the fox chasing the jackalope, so what would happen if the fox catches the jackalope? Is the fox gonna eat him? Probably. What's gonna happen if someone tries to blow up some frogs? Like, what's the fence stalkers gonna do? What are they gonna do? They're gonna obviously beat the poop out of you, you know, like the fence stalkers are very defending of their frogs. Who knows what would happen if a torque runs into like a little bear cave? Imagine a chieftain versus bear battle. I think that would be really awesome. Something like that would be really cool, and the mob combat definitely looks really intense. We've also seen Outlanders fighting wolves. That would be really cool. Imagine you're just pulling up to an Outlander camp and he's just one of them is just battling a whole pack of wolves. That would be so cool to see in mob battles in Hytale. Don't get me started how cool those are going to be. So AI combat, definitely going to be cool, definitely going to be super advanced from what we've ever seen before, and I can't wait to check it out. And last but not least, I want to talk about range combat. I already talked about staffs a little bit earlier in the magic combat, but staffs are definitely part of range combat. You can also probably use staffs in melee combat as well if you just want to use the actual staff, but if the staff is wielding some kind of elements, then I wouldn't be surprised if it is more of a range combat as we see in the trailer with, like I said before, that girl shooting her little fire staff at the Outlander Colossus. So staffs, really cool version of range combat. Next, we have the bow, and the bow to me looks to be really cool. I think we only have like 1 or 2 instances of somebody using a bow, or maybe 3 or 4. We have some guy in zone 2 with his little bow just shooting stuff. We have some Outlanders using bows, and I believe that the Outlanders are hunting the bison. That's another AI combat. I didn't even remember that. AI combat right there. Outlanders shooting the bisons. Well, they haven't shot them, but they're hunting them, which is really cool. So bows, I do think that they will be pretty good in Hytale. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like kind of as sort of OP as they are in Minecraft, because they are quite strong sometimes unless somebody has a shield. Then again, if they do have a shield, then you take no damage, but still, it's pretty cool. Spear combat. This is one that we've seen a lot of gameplay from, and it looks really cool. And honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if there's like rock throwing combat, because we saw a trailer, and even poop throwing. That could be considered range, but spear throwing looks really cool. I don't even think we have spears in a lot of games. It's kind of funny how games kind of just get rid of the spear. I guess maybe it's too OP, but then also not too OP because you gotta go pick up your spear when you throw it. So who knows what's gonna happen, because spear could also be melee combat as well. But I'm gonna throw the spear into range combat just because, you know, you can throw it, which is kind of cool. But yeah, guys, that is all the combat that I want to talk about in this video. If I somehow did miss anything else, let me know. I don't believe I did. I added, you know, range combat for some reason. I didn't add that last time. AI combat, multiplayer combat. So let me know if I did miss anything. Also, by the time you're watching this, it is probably postcard day, maybe blog post day. Probably not. It's definitely not going to be blog post day, but it's probably postcard day, so happy postcard day whenever you're seeing this video. It's going to be Friday, May 7th, I believe. So yeah, if you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Share with a couple of your friends. Become a member if you're new, and if you want to, it's super cheap, super easy. I think it's like, what, $2 like a month. That's it, to support the channel. And with that being said, everybody, join the Discord, links in the description. And with all that being said, have a great day and enjoy your weekend.